Hello, lovely audience. My name is Chloé Dierckx. I'm a PhD student at the Faculty of Social Sciences at the KU Leuven University in Belgium. And I am happy to present to you today a study I have been conducting over the last couple of years, together with my supervisors, Karin Hannes and Bieke Saman, which is entitled Becoming Entangled, Understanding Post-Human Theories Through Creative Designs. In this study, we aim to answer two questions: whether a creation process helps students to understand theory, and whether the design that results from that process also helps to communicate the theoretical ideas to others. And in this presentation, I will mainly focus on the last question. Within the course Reflexivity, taught by Karin Hannes at KU Leuven, third-year bachelor students are asked to create a theory-related design. And for this study, we looked at the process and the results of this creative assignment during the last 2 academic years. Students are first asked to read one of these 4 books: Vibrant Matter of Jane Bennett, The Post-Human of Rosi Braidotti, Meeting the Universe Halfway of Karen Barat, and Notes Towards a Performative Theory of Assembly from Judith Butler. These works can be situated within the new materialist tradition, and they rethink the way we define relations between humans and other than humans, such as, for example, animals, objects, or the environment. The students are asked to work in groups to discuss the reading and work together on a design that reflects one or more key concepts of the theory. This design is meant to explain the theory to peer students at the end of term. Before starting their creative assignments, students received an introduction into material thinking. They were offered a series of examples of artworks and designs to show how you can think about concepts through materiality and the physical qualities of a material, or also through the connotations certain material have. Also through spatiality, or the scale and positions of material, and through performativity, or the influence of time, actions, and the context of the artwork. They were offered a workshop, of which you can see a picture here, during which they could explore different materials and objects and relate them to theoretical concepts. For this part of the study, we looked at the artworks of 28 groups of 3 to 6 students. They worked together last year from distance due to COVID measures, and you can see some examples here. Some students chose to engage with the current situation by centering their designs around a digital meeting platform or relating their designs to COVID. At the end of term, students presented their designs to other students who were yet unfamiliar with the theory presented, together with a short oral explanation. And we conducted an evaluation study to see whether the designs helped to communicate these theoretical ideas to peer students, and if so, which designs were then most successful in this and why. Here you can see the questions we asked students right after they witnessed the presentation of the design. We asked them whether the design helped them to remember what the theory was about, or whether it was more distracting, whether it made the theory more understandable, or on the other hand, harder to understand, whether the design connected the theory to their immediate life world, or that it remained rather vague. We asked if the design contained more information than what was explained in words or not, whether it was innovative or traditional, and whether they interpreted the design very differently or the same as the oral explanation. And here you can see how the results of the questionnaire were analyzed. With each column referring to a question, a green color means the design was evaluated on the positive side. So for example, that it did help to remember or understand the theory. Blue refers to a neutral position and red to a negative evaluation. So you can see here that the work on the left was experienced positively for remembrance, understanding, and connection to life world, while the work on the right did not score really well on that, but was considered unanimously as innovative. We used these grids to see which works were overall positively evaluated on the various questions and to see whether there were clear correlations between different parameters. We found that overall the evaluations were diverse, though some works popped out as being evaluated strongly positive or negative. The majority of the works sat somewhere in the middle. We also found a correlation between question 1, 2, and in a slightly lesser degree 3, showing that the degree the artworks helped to remember the theory is related to how it helps to understand the theory and how it connects to the immediate life world of students. We also saw a lot of neutral positions for question 4 and 6, showing that for students, maybe these questions were not entirely clear, or since they both concerned the tension between the design and the oral explanation, that it is hard to separate both as they were often delivered at the same time. Lastly, we also saw an overall positive evaluation on the innovative aspects. Most students evaluated the designs of their peers as innovative, which might indicate the unfamiliarity many students have with artworks and designs, making it hard to know whether something is truly innovative or more traditional. I will now present some of the works that did positively pop out and scored best on their helping to remember and understand the theory. I have analyzed these designs together with their short description to see what these works have in common and what might thus be good qualities of a design that is aimed at communicating theoretical concepts. I will highlight 3 recurring qualities of the works, namely material accuracy, a consequent narrative, and the aspect of connection. With material accuracy, I refer to works that are made from rich and recognizable materials, that allow the material to act, either real or imaginary, and that follow the concept of less is more, meaning that they do not try to combine too many materials. So, for example, you see here on the left, the use of electric wires to represent veins and talk about the post-human idea of Rosi Braidotti. The materials are recognizable and an accurate metaphor as wires transfer electricity while veins transfer blood. They thus have a commonality and they attribute a machine-related quality to the human body. The example next to it uses fungus in the shape of a QR code to refer to the concept of becoming of Braidotti. The students showed a time lapse in which you could see the fungus grow. And the material is accurate as the organic and growing aspects relate to Braidotti's theory, as well as the tension between life and death that is present in the idea of becoming as fungus grows on that material. So in this example, it is very clear that the design can remain quite simple by choosing a very rich material that beholds a lot of similarities with the concept. The third work uses rubber bands to refer to the concept of entanglement from Barat. Again, the material is very recognizable. We can all imagine the feel of rubber bands, imagine how they stretch and pull and can be hard to untangle. Works with the consequent narrative have some sort of lead character or center element that acts or is acted upon, and there is a clear sequence of events. In a first example, a COVID-19 particle, which resembles the Earth, and being looked at through a looking glass, starts rolls over people and thereby affects people. In the second picture, you can see the drawing of a chain of events in which chemicals travel from the dishwasher to the sea and through fish back towards the plates in the dishwasher. The last example shows a footprint that breaks the earth and creates cracks. These cracks influence each other and make room for new things to grow within the cracks. Then the aspect of connection refers to the quality of relating different components through a connection, a tension, position, or materiality. Here you can see the example of the fungus again on the left that relates two elements, the QR code that refers to both the parts that form one whole and the digitization of society, and the fungus referring to becoming. By making one element out of the other, the two are juxtaposed and also create a relation between the digital and the organic. Then the second example in the middle shows the very straightforward use of position to show a power relation. Some puppets are placed higher than others and show the hierarchical tension between both groups. The puppets are also connected with wires to indicate that even though they are on different platforms, they still influence each other. The third work uses sound to refer to think power of Jane Bennett. Unfortunately, I cannot show it to you here, but in the video, the separate tones are related to separate entities by making them pop up at the same time. And they eventually literally come together in some sort of symphony, creating harmonious or disharmonious sounds. Now, from these examples, we can observe that thinking through design is holistic thinking. Each component has its place in the whole. Materials are accurately chosen. There are no contradictions or loose ends. And because all elements are influenced by their relations, the whole is more than a sum of its parts. And we can relate this holistic thinking to ill-structured information. And within cognitive science, ill-structured information refers to complex subjects that are also open to change and don't have a clear traceable structure or outline. While this can be said about most things we encounter in real life, most information is offered to us in a well-structured format that untangles complexity and separates it into different components. While this well-structured information makes it easier to focus on details and uses literal language, ill-structured information is just like metaphor, not concerned with details, but with the coherence and relations within a whole. This shows that both types of information can complete each other. It also shows that one way of looking at a subject cannot be straightforwardly translated to the other way of looking. Like a metaphoric language cannot be translated to literal language without influencing the way it is cognitively processed. So, even so, in university education, students mainly, or if not solely, get in touch with well-structured information. And while this type of information makes it easier both to teach and to learn things, it might also fail to show the complexity of subject matters, which is why maybe we should aim to entangle more rather than just untangle, broaden the perception of cognition in university education, and make students feel at home within ill-structuredness. I believe that one way of doing this would be to broaden the students' perspective on art, both by encouraging them to create themselves, but also by making them more familiar with contemporary art and art theory. I believe examples from the arts can show them ways to grasp ill-structured reality in all its coherent complexity. I want to thank you for your attention, and I will be happy to receive your comments and questions.